Welcome back to another episode of Style Drops. This one is all about those finishing touches needed for a space for that desired glow up. You know, there is a particular kind of frustration that happens when you've done everything right and the room still feels incomplete. You bought the furniture. You arranged it thoughtfully. You chose a cohesive color palette. You even finished up all of the art selections, throw pillows, curtains, and of course the rugs. You followed some design principles, and possibly ignored or adjusted the rest. But yet something feels off, even after you placed everything in its assigned spaces. But you never thought about those small, unglamorous, tedious final steps that nobody posts on Instagram. This is what separates a room that looks finished from a room that is highly functional and stylish down to the last details. Let's break this down. The things that take minimal time, cost, and almost nothing could be adding to the reason your beautiful space feels like a work in progress still. Let's begin by walking over to your decorative pillows and take a good look at them. Is there a tag hanging off them? You know those white warning labels from the manufacturer that states, "Do not remove under penalty of law," which applies to the retailer, not you. Or perhaps the washing instruction tag. Maybe even a barcode sticker that someone forgot to remove at checkout. The pillow looks great. But any type of label hanging off the side does not. But no worries, you're not gonna pillow jail for removing them. You're the consumer. That law is protecting you from getting a pillow stuffed with something other than polyfill. So please get a scissors and simply cut them off. And please do this now, not later, because that pillow has been your possession for the past 6 to 8 months now, and they're still there. Or even worse yet, that little plastic fastener that holds the original price tag. Look closely, is it still there? With no price tag on it. You just simply rip the price tag off, and that plastic fastener thingy is still attached to the pillow. That is a major no bueno. And while on the hunt for small things, check out the bottom of every vase, picture frame, decorative bowl and plate, candle and lamp base in your space, for price stickers and barcode stickers. If they're there, then it's time to remove them. Yes, these are those last finishing touches, details that need to happen after a day of retail shopping therapy. Maybe you're thinking, who cares and who's going to see them on the bottom? Well, they're not always on the bottom. They can be on the sides too. But with a little Goo Gone, or even a little olive oil and a little patience, they instantly lift off. This way, if someone ever does go to lift the vase or decorative item, they don't need to see that you got it on sale for $9.99. It's nobody's business where you bought something, or how much you paid for it. Okay, let's move on to the next style killer, the curtains. These much-needed fabric panels that aid in light blockages and needed privacy. They're beautiful and carefully chosen, and they've been hanging now for 3 months still, with their permanent horizontal shipping creases across them, like they're still folded in the package, waiting to be opened. This is not the natural wrinkles of the fabric that will fall out in time. These wrinkles broadcast, "I was too lazy to steam them or launder them before I hung them." And it's ruining the entire effect you just paid for. The same goes for anything that has just emerged from the shipping box. Those creases don't say, "You're adulting now." It says, "Recently unboxed." A steamer costs $30 and will change your life, or an iron works too. Even hanging things in the bathroom during a hot shower works if you're desperate. Any of these solutions are better than living with decorative items that screams fresh arrival from Amazon, versus having them possibly pass for custom. Steam things, and let them develop real wrinkles from actual living, not the geometric folds from FedEx delivery. Plus, Let Style Drops also wants to remind you that your curtains can also have another major style risk. What is that, you ask? Are they hanging 2 to 3 inches above the floor, announcing to everyone who sees them that you measured wrong and now you're just living with it? Curtains should kiss the floor or slightly puddle, if you're feeling fancy. And if you want to level up even more, they should be hung at ceiling height rather than window height, to make the room feel taller. Okay, now let's move on to the next style killer, number 3, builder-grade light switches. When you spend time carefully collecting and thoughtfully designing your space, it all can be undermined by those white plastic light switch plates that scream builder-grade. That could even possibly be yellowing and or even covered in fingerprints or food stains by now. Good switch plates cost $5 to $10 each. Replacing every switch and outlet cover in a room might cost you $50 total. So level up and choose brushed brass if your fixtures are warm-toned. For dark walls, possibly go for matte black, nickel if you're playing it safe and would like something that works with everything. Choose anything but white plastic. The impact is disproportionately large for such a small fix. But you've stopped seeing them years ago, even though everyone who ever walks into your space notices them immediately. And while we're on the subject of hardware, let's now take a quick look at those drawer and cabinet pulls. Do they match or coordinate? Or are there any of them broken or missing pulls? You know the drawer I'm talking about, the one that you've been opening with your fingernails. Because the pull has come loose. Next up, on our style killer list is something that has been repeated 1,000 times. But still, cord clutter offenders are still out there, open and proud. The lamp cord that is draped across the wall, fully visible, which is doing nothing for the aesthetic you worked so hard to create. The phone charger that snakes across your nightstand. Not to mention the television situation, where I'm sure that you've given up on that cord hell entirely, haven't you? And you've just accepted that it's going to be a tangled mess behind the TV console forever. Each cord chips away at the finished feeling you're trying to achieve. And solutions do exist, such as cord covers that match your wall color, running cords under the sides of the rugs, cable management boxes that hide entire power strips for $15, Velcro cable ties that bundle and contain the chaos, or just run the cords behind and underneath furniture like a functional adult, instead of letting them drape across surfaces like you're running an electronics repair shop out of your living room. Take the time to conquer that cord clutter. Let's move on to something very small but big in purpose. And that element is a small but very necessary element that can create damage to floors. That damage is all about every chair you pull out to sit in, every table leg. All of them are scratching your floors and making horrible scraping sounds because you never added felt pads to the bottom. Felt pads cost $3 for 100 of them. The application process takes approximately 45 seconds per furniture leg. And yet you're living in a space where pulling out a chair sounds like nails on a chalkboard, and your beautiful floors are developing micro scratches daily. You might not have thought about that until just now, but now you cannot unhear that sound, and it might be haunting you. Plus, if your table wobbles, these same felt pads make great furniture levelers. Felt pads of varying thickness exist. Any of these solutions are more permanent and less embarrassing than explaining to dinner guests why there's a napkin under the table leg. And those scratches are becoming more visible by the moment. So let's get that fixed today by adding those felt pads of these other needed mentionables to your Amazon shopping cart today. Next style killer is what occurs when we arrange and rearrange their gallery walls, mainly because we all must have additions to those walls. So if you have rearranged your gallery wall twice, possibly even 3 times, even though the current arrangement looks great, because there is always room to level up, but if the 17 holes from previous attempts are still there, it's creating a constellation of failures above your carefully curated art. Spackle takes 5 minutes to apply, sanding another 5, finishing up with the touch-up paint, which you should already have a small container of in your wall color, takes 2 minutes. 20 minutes total to erase the evidence of every time you changed your mind about that picture placement. While you're on the paint touch-up path, your baseboards have scuffs from the vacuum, shoes, and moving furniture. Your trim has paint chips and dings. Touch-up paint exists specifically for this purpose. You have it somewhere, probably dried out because you bought it 3 years ago and never used it. Get a new small container. Spend 15 minutes fixing the visible damage. Your room will look exponentially more finished. Okay, now let's move on to doors. Do they have those needed doorstops? Or do they have those cheap brass spring ones from 1987 that makes an aggressive, bowing sound whenever anyone touches it? The door handle is hitting your wall and creating dings. Wall-mounted doorstops in finishes that match your hardware exist. So do hinge-mounted invisible stops. Either option is better than the hole currently developing in your drywall. These corrections are a major must, especially for those who desire that finished look on every level. Now we're going to move on to lampshades. You really need to take a long look at them. Are they crooked, stained, or damaged in any way? Or maybe the back seam is facing forward. So first, rotate the lampshade so all of the seams face the wall. This takes 2 seconds. Maybe you weren't aware how those seams keep migrating forward, but they do. So take a moment and readjust the shades. Remember, this is about the small details that make a big difference within a space. Continuing on to something that might mean so little to some, but is a major no bueno to others, and that is having matching hangers. Yes, the closet is not really open to public tours. But these personal touches are what make a statement to the world that I have my life together. So, if your drawers are so full they don't close properly, or that you shove them closed with force, take 10 minutes and organize with some needed drawer dividers. It's a complete win. Functionality is all about finishing and following through. A drawer that won't close is a major style killer, even if no one else sees inside it but you. Your closet is part of your space. And when your closet contains approximately 47 hangers in a chaotic mix of wire from the dry cleaner, plastic from Target, and felt ones from somewhere you can't remember, pick one type. Replace them all. This is all about those small finishing touches that represent how you take care of yourself. You might be thinking, no one sees my closet. You do, every single day. And every time you open that closet and see the chaos, it chips away at the sense of completion you're trying to achieve everywhere else. Matching hangers cost almost nothing and transform the space from storage chaos to cohesive design intention. You spent thousands on furniture. You agonized over paint colors for weeks. You rearranged furniture and accents 17 times trying to get that layout right. And you followed design principles or deliberately broke them. In other words, you put in the work. And then you stopped right before the last extra $50 can be used to level up on your switch plates. Before the $3 felt pads. Before the 10 minutes required to remove tags, and the 20 minutes needed to spackle holes, and the 5 seconds it takes to rotate a lampshade so the seam doesn't show. These finishing touches aren't the things you do after designing is done. These touches are what makes the design tone. Every visible tag, every shipping crease, every exposed cord, every unmatched piece of hardware, every chip in the paint, every detail you meant to handle later. They're all announcing something needs care. The room needs love and follow-up even after that last painting is hung. You can fix all of these needed touches in a day. Not eventually, not when you have more time, but today. Most of these fixes take less than an hour total. But all of them are the difference between a room that looks like you care versus a space that looks like you succeeded. Now more than ever we need to take that extra special care of our spaces, so go remove those pillow tags and straighten those lampshades. And, until next time my stylistas, Style Drops would really love it if you could please help this channel expand to a wider audience by liking, but most importantly subscribing. Until next, ciao.